What's up, Amateur Lore here, and today we're not talking about college football. We're here to just share our feelings. Just kidding, chill, don't leave, but for real. Y'all seem to like my last video about historically bad teams that had magical seasons, so here's part 2. These videos take a while to make, and I haven't hit on a parlay in weeks, so yeah, I'm going through it. A like and a sub would be appreciated. But intro done, let's jump right into magical seasons by historically terrible programs. Alright, so the first team we're going to cover in this video has to be the 2014 Mississippi State Bulldogs. And I can already see the paragraphs upon paragraphs of comments saying Mississippi State isn't a historically bad program. And to that I say, maybe. My reason for including this team in this specific video was because in this program's 120-year history of playing football, they only have 3 10-win seasons. And I'm well aware to some people that might not mean much, but to me it does. I use 10 wins as a gauge of how good your season was. It might not be 100% accurate, but it is what it is. Anyway, that's that, so let's get right into the magical season. Coming into 2014, I don't think it was a stretch to say this team was expected to be good, but I don't think anybody outside of Stark Vegas could have predicted how magical of a season they would have. As coming into the year, the Bulldogs were predicted to finish 5th in the SEC West behind teams such as Alabama, Auburn, LSU, and Ole Miss, which makes this 2014 season even more cool because even the so-called experts didn't see this coming. Leading the team in his 5th season in Starkville up to that point was probably my favorite coach of all time and easily my favorite Florida Gators coach of all time, the hacker Dan Mullen. And the man he trusted to run his offense was the future NFL quarterback and 2023 NFL passing touchdown leader, Dak Prescott, who would finish the year with just short of 3,500 yards passing with 27 touchdowns. But not only did Dak ball out through the air, he also did on land as he would finish with just short of 1,000 rushing yards with 14 rushing touchdowns. Transitioning to the running back, leading the team in rushing was Josh Robinson, who would rush for over 1,200 yards with 11 touchdowns. And for the receiving core, there wasn't really any dominant ball catcher, and the team more so relied on a committee of good receivers, as this squad would have 6 players finish with 300 plus receiving yards. Okay, that's some of the key players. Let's hop right into the 2014 Mississippi State football season. To start the season, the Bulldogs would open up with 3 straight wins against some pretty weak competition, winning 49-0 against Southern Mississippi, 47-34 against University of Alabama at Birmingham. Shout out to the Blazers, my little sister attends that school, and finally a dominant 35-3 win against South Alabama. Now 3-0 and still unranked, the Bulldogs had a massive couple of games coming up on the road at Death Valley versus the 8th ranked LSU Tigers and back at home the following week for a home game against the 6th ranked Texas A&M Aggies. Going 2-0 against both these SEC juggernauts would be almost impossible. Almost. Could Dan Mullen, Dak, and the Mississippi State Bulldogs shake up the college football world and put their name on the map?
In from Baton Rouge and Tiger Stadium. We'll have a record crowd here tonight at Tiger Stadium. Our matchup in the SEC West, the Bulldogs of Mississippi State and the 8th ranked Tigers of LSU. Left, they can get a first down at the 2. He rolls that way and goes to the end zone. And caught. Touchdown, Derunya Wilson. Just inside the 2, 4th and goal. The keeper by Jennings, he's going nowhere except backwards. Down with a minute to go, first quarter. Prescott wants more, he's got all day, deep middle. Got it to Wilson again. Inside at the 3. Straight ahead is Robinson. Prescott on the keeper. And Dak got a couple, and the ball is out. They might do better than a 3 and out. They're going with Danielle Hunter to the end zone. Dak Prescott a run all the way, and he's got a big opening. And a stiff arm, Dak Prescott. This is what he does better than anybody in the SEC. Touchdown. He's in trouble. Gets out of it momentarily. Now throws. Wide open, Jamion Lewis. He might take it. Yes, he will. Another Mississippi State touchdown. Going to the end zone. Caught. Touchdown. Brandon Harris backpedals near his own 45. Got to get rid of it. The Hail Mary downfield, and it's intercepted at the 1-yard line. Ball game. Mississippi State in an upset.
That's Trey Carson, Brandon Williams, and now Trey Williams, but it's a quick pass, and it's a touchdown. A&M not lined up. Robinson to the goal line. It is touchdown, Mississippi State. Side 5. Here's Carson. Hit in the backfield. No running room. Robinson powers in. Prescott running and trying to dive to the end zone. He got in. Hill throws. Niederhofer lost it, and it's picked off. Intercepted by Richie Brown. Brown brings it back. Another run play and a huge hole. the way inside the 10. Got with 2 touchdowns running and passing. Here comes number 3 on the ground as Prescott walks right into the Heisman discussion. His 5th touchdown of the day.
2 insanely massive wins against top 10 opponents that shockingly the Bulldogs would dominate, winning 34-29 at Death Valley against the 8th-ranked LSU Tigers in a game which saw the Bulldogs as a team rushing for 300-plus yards, most of which done by Josh Robinson, who had 197 rushing yards with the TUD, and Dak Prescott, who had 105 yards on the ground. Dak didn't just dominate on the ground, as he would add 268 passing yards with 2 touchdowns on top of that, rotating over to their other top 10 win against the 6th-ranked Aggies, 48-31, in a matchup that Dak would dominate once again, passing for 268 yards, and adding 5 total touchdowns on top of that. And also, shout out to the Mississippi State defense. They picked off the Aggies quarterback Kenny Hill 3 times. Now sitting at 5-0 and moving up in the rankings to the 3rd spot in the latest polls, Mississippi State was set to make history as their next matchup would be against the 2nd-ranked Auburn Tigers, and this would mark the first time in program history that College Game Day would be visiting Stark Vegas. Dak and Mississippi State were dealing with expectations and pressure for the first time at this high of a level. Would they be able to turn pressure into diamonds, or would the pressure make them implode like a submarine at crushed death?
Auburn has covered the spread 10 straight SEC games. There's no way, you guess it, no way they're not going to get 11, not here in Starkville, not here. No way! No way!
Bullies out here.
Home Depot SEC on CBS. A highly excited crowd here for a battle of undefeateds. The Auburn Tigers 5-0, ranked 2nd in the country, and the Bulldogs of Mississippi State likewise. Blitz. Prescott hit as he lets it fly. It's caught. And the missed tackle. Marshall pulls it back, lets it go. It's caught. Fumble. Turnover. Mississippi State.
One was just, you can never let a eligible receiver run out of the backfield.
Robinson with the carry. He got in.
Now, as you know, 6th game of the season.
And here's the power.
Yep.
Touchdown. Drills it. Got it. Here goes Prescott. There goes Prescott. 3rd and 9 here. That one. Oh, it's caught. 4-man rush. Marshall. Oh, wow. A duck. A duck. And Justin Cox makes the interception.
Wasn't when he came here. He had to first challenge the fans and rebuild the facilities and then go get football players. He did all 3.
38-23.
No cap and gown, the Bulldogs were playing out of this world. They straight up played some of their best ball of the season, defeating the 2nd-ranked Auburn Tigers 38-23, in arguably one of the biggest wins in program history. Mississippi State fans, comment down below if this is the biggest win in program history. If not, let me know which is. Back to the Bulldogs. Before I move on from this Auburn game, I have to give Dak Prescott his props. Blood put up 246 passing yards with a touchdown and a couple of interceptions, and on the ground, Dak would lead the game in rushing, finishing with 121 yards and 2 touchdowns. Also, shout out to the Bulldogs defense. They would force the starting quarterback for the Auburn Tigers, Nick Marshall, to throw 2 picks. Now sitting at 6-0, the Mississippi State Bulldogs were currently the #1 ranked team in the entire country, their highest ranking ever in the AP poll era. Now the Bulldogs officially had a target on their back. They were no longer the underdog anymore, as now they were the top dogs. And from now on, every single SEC team left on their schedule would be aiming for the Bulldogs' head, trying their best to end the Bulldogs' magical 2014 run. Mississippi State would rattle off 3 straight wins after their huge win against the Tigers, beating the University of Kentucky 45-31, Arkansas 17-10 in a game that was way too close for comfort, as Dak would throw 2 first-half picks, but the Bulldogs would hold on long enough to score a touchdown in the 4th quarter to put the game away. And finally, to end this little 3-game stretch, a 45-16 win against UT Martin. Now sitting at 9-0 and still ranked as the #1 team in the entire country, Mississippi State had a date with a juggernaut. Let me set the stage. #1 MSU at the 5th-ranked Alabama Crimson Tide. College Game Day was there. All eyes were going to be on this game. Could Mississippi State pass every SEC team's rite of passage? Only one way to find out.
Logan Cook will kick off, and Christian Jones, number 22, is the deep man, along with DeAndrew White, and that's good to know that DeAndrew White is on the field.
Sure is. He had a big rap Thursday.
Pulled a hamstring in practice.
Knocking down passes.
Here's Robinson. Dangerous. This could be it.
Yep.
Here's Cooper.
There's a touchdown.
I'm just thinking about the folks who don't know our point of reference. Deep for Cooper. Leaping. Catching.
Prescott got a man open, touchdown. Yeldon. T.J. Yeldon. Across the middle, tipped and intercepted. Into the end zone, touchdown. Up in the air, DeAndre White.
Man, Mississippi State would fight hard trying to mount a late comeback, but against a team like Alabama, once they get a lead, it's almost impossible to beat them, as the Tide would defeat the Bulldogs 25-20. One thing that really stood out to me was that in most of the Bulldogs' big games against teams like LSU, Texas A&M, and Auburn, was that Mississippi State would always jump out to a lead early and usually had success on their first couple of offensive drives of the game. But against the Tide, that just didn't happen, and Mississippi State would have to play from behind, which didn't work out too well for them on this particular day. It was a tough loss for the Bulldogs, but it wasn't the end of the world. If they could win their last 2 remaining games of the season, they would be fine and still in a position to make the college football playoffs. Now sitting at 9-1 and currently ranked as the 4th best team in the country, the Bulldogs would have a nice easy game against Vanderbilt as they would demolish them 51-0, bringing their record to 10-1 and keeping their ranking in the college football playoffs at the 4th spot. It was now rivalry week and Mississippi State had a clear path to the postseason. All they had to do was handle business against the 19th ranked Ole Miss Rebels on the road in the Egg Bowl. Could Mississippi State make history or would the lights be too bright?
Read by Bo.
Gain of 18, play action again. Wallace into the end zone.
Mississippi State game, the stakes are so high.
Down the middle. Evan Ingram at the 1-yard line. Gain. And here we go again. Oh, I think he's across. Yes. Touchdown. Robert Conyers in at center now. This one. Oh, boy. Evan Ingram is off to the races. Evan Ingram at the 10. Down at the 2. Liggins. That time, Josh Robinson, the running back, does not get the handoff. Here's Prescott. Man-for-man coverage. It's caught. Toss. Very good pressure defensively. This is Walton. Oh, my goodness. Oh, my goodness. It's a foot race. And Walton is going to go all the way.
Defense, they have not let up.
Prescott throws it deep left side into the end zone. Did he hang on? Yes, he did. Prescott. Incomplete. Have disappeared. Mississippi State lost any chance. Oh dear. They got his wife too.
Unfortunately, in one of the saddest cases of dark true crime in the state of Mississippi, the Ole Miss Rebels would shock the world and take down the 4th-ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs. Why couldn't they just tie or let the Bulldogs win? Instead, they had to murder them on national TV in front of millions. Obviously, I'm just joking, it's football. There's no room for the weak on the gridiron. But come on, wouldn't it have been awesome if the Bulldogs could have somehow beat the Rebels in the Egg Bowl and stuck into the playoffs? I think they could have maybe won the Natty. What do y'all think? Comment down below. But after the loss to the Rebels, Mississippi State would make a New Year's Six Bowl, more specifically the Orange Bowl against the 12th-ranked Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. It would be a back-and-forth game all the way until the 3rd quarter, where the Jackets would just take over the game and pull away, winning the Orange Bowl against the Bulldogs 49-34. Tough loss for our boys, but I want to end this section on a positive note. Mississippi State's 10-3 season was one of their best in program history, and while the season didn't end the way they wanted it to, there were still so many highs that were reached, and definitely a season I don't think any college football fans will be forgetting about soon. Alright, leaving Stark Vegas, let's head back in time to the year 2006 into the state of New Jersey to take a look at my all-time rival, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. This program, which is considered the birthplace of college football, has been playing football for a total of 110 years, and in that time span, they've only managed to pull off 2 10-win seasons. Once in 1976, and the other in the year we're going to be taking a look at for this video, 2006. Speaking of 2006, let's dive right into the Scarlet Knights squad. Leading the team in his 5th year up to this point was the old ball coach Greg Schiano, who is still currently coaching for them till this day and doing a pretty good job if you ask me. Running the show under center was Mike Teal, who, if I'm going to be honest, his numbers on paper were nothing special, as he would pass for just over 2,100 yards with 12 passing touchdowns and 13 interceptions. The real man running the offense was the dude who taught me how to treat treat women, Ray Rice, who would rush for just shy of 1,800 yards with 20 touchdowns. And for receiving, the team leader was, I guess, Clark Harris, who would finish with just shy of 500 receiving yards with 2 touchdowns. This team was clearly a run-first offense. And also I have to shout out their defense, as it was elite, as they only allowed 14.3 points per game, which was 8th best in the country. And also this defense would force 26 turnovers. They were definitely getting after that ball. Pause. Okay, so coming into this 2006 season, as many of you can guess, the hype surrounding the Scarlet Knights this year wasn't anything crazy. I mean, they were not expected to be terrible, but they were also not expected to be as good as they were this season. As in the 2006 Big East preseason predictions, Rutgers was predicted to finish 4th in the conference behind teams such as West Virginia, Louisville, and Pittsburgh. To open up the season, the Scarlet Knights would face the North Carolina Tar Heels and would beat them 21-16 in a matchup that would take all 4 quarters to decide a winner. Also, shout out to the woman respecter Ray Rice, as he would put up a 200 bomb on the ground with 3 touchdowns. The Scarlet Knights' next 3 games were much easier, as they would easily win games against Illinois 33-0, Ohio 24-7, and finally Howard 56-7. And also, Chris Ray Rice Brown would continue to dominate on the ground, totaling 403 rushing yards through this little 3-game stretch. Now sitting at 4-0 and currently ranked at the 23rd spot in the AP poll, Rutgers was about to start conference play and begin a grueling stretch of Big East ball. A 4-game stretch which included 3 road games versus teams such as USF, Navy, and Pittsburgh, and finally to end the stretch, a home game against the UConn Huskies. Could the Scarlet Knights stay undefeated and keep their magical season rolling?
Rice again, and Rice is in! Touchdown Rutgers! Williams in the backfield. Grothe gonna keep. Touchdown, South Florida! Those undefeateds, the Rutgers Scarlet Knights. Right now with a 3-point lead, but South Florida on the move. Grothe breaks tackles and is in! Michigan last year. On 2nd and goal, Rice trying to get to the outside. And he does, and Rice is in. Point conversion, Grothe in the shotgun. And Grothe, and it's in.
Man-to-man on the outside.
4 wide receivers and the tight end all split out on 3rd and 5 across the middle. It's Underwood. He's got open space at the 10. Jitter steps past a man for a touchdown. On 1st down, Teal looking, has a man across the middle and into the end zone for a touchdown. Teal with time. Underwood, touchdown, Rutgers.
Maybe send Derek Turner to the corner.
Looking the other way. Palco in trouble. Palco's got to get rid of it. Throws to the end zone. Touchdown! Leonard in motion. They give to Rice. Tries the right side. And 93rd reception. And is enough to make it 1st down and goal. Turning Rice to the outside. 5-4-3. Touchdown! Hernandez out of Bristol, Connecticut. The quarterback, big rush put on, gets away from one, gets tackled, fumbles the football. Rutgers trying to recover at the 10, still loose, picked up to the 5, and touchdown! And 1 yards now for Brown in 12 carries, only a freshman in the backfield. Up to the 30-40, breaks away, gets up to midfield. There's nobody there. Donald Brown, the freshman, Connecticut. Now, 2nd down and 5, and they are inside the 10-yard line. 1st down is at about the 3, and to the goal line, touchdown! Punting situation. Chris Pavasaris, and is blocked into the end zone! Still loose, still in the end zone, touchdown! Jamal Westerman again!
The Scarlet Knights would go 4-0 during this stretch of ball, winning games against USF in a close one that ended 22-20, a blowout against Navy 34-0, a defensive slugfest against Pittsburgh that ended 20-10, and finally to end this stretch, a close call against UConn that took all 4 quarters to decide a winner. But in the end, the Scarlet Knights would finish the Huskies off 24-13. Now sitting at 8-0 and ranked as the 15th best team in the country in the latest AP polls, which was their highest ranking ever in their long history of playing football up to that point, Rutgers as a program was reaching heights they could have never imagined. But while winning and being ranked high comes with all type of perks such as being talked about, having games nationally televised, the campus birds trying to get in your gray sweats, etc., but it also comes with a lot of expectations. And the following week, Rutgers would be faced with their biggest test of the season so far, a matchup against the 8-0, 3rd-ranked Louisville Cardinals, and arguably one of the biggest games in program history. Let me know down below in the comments if you went to Rutgers and if this game was the biggest in program history. Anyway, could the Scarlet Knights slay the Dragon? I mean the Cardinals?
Ray Rice, who averages more carries than any running back in the country. Is Rutgers up to it? Their crowd certainly is. At the 2. And after the big freshman who powers to the end zone, touchdown.
A nice big tackle and set up 3rd down.
And 3rd and 13. Brown, again, well protected. Flips over the middle, intercepted. Intercepted by Devon Thompson, the linebacker. Still spilling into Louisville territory. Out of bounds inside the 25. So Teal Will throw on first down. Fires all the way, caught, touchdown.
Guys like Underwood to go back to their bread and butter, which is the running game. And by throwing, that sometimes can open up those running lanes.
Jawan Spillman runs it out of the end zone for Louisville, has a crease. Beats the kicker and takes it to the house. No flags. Across the middle, touchdown. It's built for the quick comeback, but they need points in a hurry. Now it's Rice. He's around the corner. Ray Rice headed to the end zone. Touchdown. Let's see what they've got in an important 3rd and 6. Teal has time across the middle. It's high and it's complete. 20 for daylight is good. The freshman in a foot race. Loses the football. It's loose. Did he get it back? Rutgers ball inside the 5.
Back to Louisville.
First and goal. Rice, left side. Touchdown. He's got it. California.
Perfect job.
Whistle, snap, final play. Brock, hit and sacks. A fitting ending to Rutgers' biggest win ever.
Rutgers would come out on top of the 3rd-ranked Louisville Cardinals 28-25 in a game that the Scarlet Knights fell behind early in, but would keep fighting and clawing their way back to take the lead and eventually icing the game with a last-second field goal for one of the biggest wins in program history. Now sitting at 9-0 and ranked 7th in the country, breaking their AP poll record which they just set in the previous week, the Scarlet Knights were actually getting put in the conversation of teams in the BCS who could possibly make the national championship. Crazy to think of because this team really wasn't expected to do that much at the beginning of the season. Unfortunately, like most things in life, your highest high is always followed by your lowest low, as after the biggest win in program history, Rutgers would get blown out 30-11 by the 5-5 Cincinnati Bearcats. And because the loss was so bad, they would drop 8 spots all the way back to the 15th spot in the polls. Fortunately, the Scarlet Knights would bounce back the following week, putting the beats on the Syracuse Orange 38-7, bringing Rutgers' overall record to 10-1 and their ranking in the AP polls to the 13th spot. There was one game left on the schedule versus the 10-2 15th ranked West Virginia Mountaineers, led by our guy Pat McAfee. Well, I wouldn't say led, he was just the kicker, but you get the point. And while any hopes of playing in the big game was out the window, there was still a lot on the line in this game, as whoever won would make a BCS bowl and be crowned conference champ. Could the Scarlet Knights end this magical season with the win over West Virginia?
We welcome you to ESPN's College Football Primetime and Championship Saturday on a potential night of enthronement and enshrinement for one team out of the state of New Jersey, the Rutgers University Scarlet Knights. Tonight, they take on the 9-2 West Virginia Mountaineers here at sold-out Mountaineer Field. Up on that last play. And it's Ray Rice bouncing it outside, breaks a tackle. Ray Rice, touchdown, Scarlet Knights. Slayton over the top, touchdown. On 3rd and 10, a little heat coming from Rutgers. Brown with an alley, and then some. Brown, touchdown, ho! CS bit. Louisville rooting for the Mountaineers right now. Teal trying to get it all back right here, and he has a man. Brown, oh, we got it all! Today, this one coming from 42. And he is true for the tie. Easy. And the second overtime. Rice again. Rice down to the 2-yard line. Leonard touch, lining up out of the eye. Slayton. And on second down. Brown looked like he wanted to throw downfield. It's back there. Touchdown. Rice split to the top of your screen. Teal. Nobody open. No good. It's over.
The Scarlet Knights would fall just short in the last game of the regular season, 41-39, in a game that needed more than 4 quarters to decide a winner. Even though I'm sure Rutgers would have loved to win the game against West Virginia and clinch a Big East title, regardless of the loss, they would finish the season 11-2 after blowing out Kansas State in the Texas Bowl. I know the Scarlet Knights were so close to making a BCS Bowl, but the season they had in 2006 is still one for the books. As if you ask me, this is probably the best year Rutgers has had ever in program history. Leaving the Northeast in the state of New Jersey, we head down south to Lexington, Kentucky to take a look at the 2018 Kentucky Wildcats. Wildcats. Now, let me explain why a team who I'm sure a lot of you would consider being pretty decent as of late is in my video talking about teams who were historically bad that had magical seasons. So let's talk about it real quick. So in this program's 109 years of playing football, Kentucky only has 4 10-win plus seasons, and their all-time record is well below a 500 winning percentage. While making this video, their current all-time record sits at 531, 580, and 36. That's pretty much my reasoning for including them in this video. So let's dive right into the 2018 squad. So coming into this year, as with most teams I cover in these videos, the Kentucky Wildcats didn't have a lot of hype coming into the season, as the Wildcats were predicted to finish 5th in the SEC East, behind teams such as Georgia, South Carolina, Florida, Go Gators, and finally Missouri. So I think it's safe to assume that outside of Big Blue Nation, Kentucky wasn't expected to be as good as they were this year. But speaking of Big Blue, let's take a look at some of the key pieces a part of this 2018 Kentucky Wildcat squad. Leading the program in his 5th year up to that point was Mark Stoops, who is still the current coach till this day. And if you are a Kentucky fan, let me know if he is the best coach in program history. Running the offense at the most important position in sports was quarterback Terry Wilson, who would pass for just shy of 1,900 yards with 11 touchdowns and would also add 547 yards on the ground with 4 touchdowns. Heading over to the focal point of the offense and the team lead in rushing was running back Benny Snell, who would rush for 1,449 yards with 16 touchdowns. And leading the team in receiving was Lynn Bowden Jr., who would finish the year with 745 receiving yards. I also have to shout out this monster defense Kentucky had, as they only allowed 16.8 points per game, which was 6th best in the entire country. And I can't forget about the insane defensive season that the first-round NFL pick Josh Allen had, as he would finish the season with 17 sacks and would also rack up awards such as the SEC Defensive Player of the Year, the Chuck Bernardic Award for the nation's best defender, and many other accolades. To open the 2018 season up, the Wildcats would win a close game that was close all the way until the third quarter, when Kentucky would pull away to eventually win 35-20 against Central Michigan. Now 1-0 with the tune-up game out of the way, the Wildcats were set to travel to the Swamp to play my 25th ranked Florida Gators, led by a quarterback who I have a love-hate, mostly hate relationship with, Felipe Franks. This game was a big one, as Kentucky had been dying to get a chance to end one of the longest streaks in FBS history, a 31-game losing streak to the Florida Gators. Could the Cats upset the balance of nature and take down the Gators at the Swamp?
Wilson leaves the pocket, throws off his back foot, end zone! Touchdown, Kentucky! 2nd and 1, and he wants to throw. They get their hands on him and take him down.
And everybody, was very happy.
And it's wide. And we got a chain link keeping track of 10 yards. They'll move that chain, and maybe they will just lay it down. Here's Benny Snell. Wilson taking a shot. Underthrown and intercepted. And on the flip fake, Terry Wilson's going to take it to the edge and in. Play action. Wilson lets it go. Bowden gets deep. Got it! Touchdown, Kentucky! They came out looking deep early in the series. Franks intercepted! It's Darius West! They're going to throw it. They might not have a lot of time. They dump it underneath. It's good for a first down. And Michael Pirine. And Pirine's got it inside. To the end zone. Touchdown, Freddie Swain. Here. Frank steps up. Hit as he throws, it falls incomplete.
The University of Kentucky would pull off the upset against the 25th ranked Florida Gators, 27-16, in a game that, if I'm being honest, as a Florida fan, Kentucky pretty much dominated the whole entire game, minus maybe the first quarter, regardless of how close the final score was. Also, shout out to Terry Wilson, who would throw for 151 yards with 2 touchdowns and play a pretty clean game minus the pick. And I couldn't forget the dude who torched us all game long on the ground, that being Benny Snell Jr., who would rush for 175 yards. Now sitting at 2-0, Kentucky would play a gimme game against Murray State, winning easily 48-10, bringing their record to 3-0 and giving the Wildcats enough time to prepare for their first little stretch of SEC play. More specifically, a 3-game stretch of games against SEC foes, the 14th ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs, South Carolina, and finally to end the stretch, a matchup at Kyle Field against Texas A&M. Could Big Blue keep up their magical season, or would the SEC gauntlet be too much for Kentucky to handle?
Fitzgerald again, touchdown Mississippi State. And 1st and goal. Snell, touchdown Cats. And into the belly of Benny. Snell breaking free inside the 10, touchdown.
3 receivers to the top. Wilson keeps it, and he's in. South Carolina shows pressure. They rush 5. Rose runs out bottom. Rose to the pylon. He's in. Drive. Benny Snell spins, and Benny Snell's in.
Mack is 6'1", 320. They flip it to Lynn Bowden with some running room. He can fly inside the 20, inside the 10. And perhaps, nope. Straight pass to the end zone. That's how anemic the Wildcats offense has been tonight. Mond off the hands of one receiver and into the paws of Jay Sternberger. Them leading.
Wow, almost fumbled that snap.
He's in trouble. Mond lost the football. It got batted away.
Oh my
Kentucky has it. It's Darius West and the undefeated season. Their former walk-on to give them the lead in overtime. Bang! Off the crossbar and short.
Depending on what they do here.
Kicking on third down. It might not matter. It does not.
Big Blue would go 2-1 through the stretch of SEC play, winning against the 14th ranked Mississippi State Bulldogs 28-7 in a game that was dominated by the Kentucky Wildcats and Benny Snell. He would put up 165-yard rushing with 4 touchdowns on a pretty elite defense. The following week, Kentucky would keep up the impressive play by pretty easily handling the South Carolina Cox, 24-10, and finally, to end this little 3-game stretch, a tough loss on the road against Texas A&M, 20-14, in a matchup that would take more than 4 quarters to decide a winner. And while watching the game, I noticed Big Blue had a lot of opportunities to win the game and make big plays, and just failed to do so in a tough loss. And also, the Aggies would do a great job at limiting the rushing offense of Kentucky, as Benny Snell would record his season low in rushing yards during that game. Losing sucks, I think we can agree on that, unless you pick the pitcher to go under on fantasy score. Besides that, losing sucks, but Kentucky would bounce back in their next 2 SEC matchups. Well, bounce back is a stretch, as they would win both games by a total of 8 points, winning 14-7 against Vanderbilt and barely escaping Missouri 15-14 on the road. Now sitting at 7-1 and being ranked 9th in the country, their highest ranking since the crazy 2007 season. Although Kentucky had slowed down a bit, they were still in a position to make a legit run to the college football playoffs. All they had to do was take down the 6th ranked Georgia Bulldogs. Easier said than done, but with how magical the Wildcat season had been so far, who really knew what the outcome of this game would be?
Over the top or back shoulder.
From 3rd and goal, over the middle end zone, touchdown! 1-yard gain first play, but you get 15 here, and now Wilson, here's your screen. AT that you were looking for, and apparently the Dogs, they think they have the football. George Hilliard on the sideline, high snap, loose football, and Kentucky gets it back. 4 hit a 31-yarder at Missouri. This one is good.
Let go when he saw that DB jumping outside.
Swift making catch miss. DeAndre Swift, touchdown.
Bottom of your screen on Ridley.
Loose football, and Kentucky is on top. This ball out of the shotgun. Holyfield has it. Holyfield pushes, stretches. Scoring drive in the second quarter. Snell will take it across the goal line.
Eddie Graham told us they weren't going to let him do.
Got a wheel route.
Caught. After all, Rose somehow holds it in. Rose goes at this point.
If they can run the ball like they ran the ball today.
Loose football, and that will.
Georgia would put the beats on Kentucky, but don't feel too bad, Big Blue Nation. As a Gators fan, this happens to us on a regular basis as of late. Now sitting at 7-2 and moving down in the rankings to the 11th spot in the latest polls, Kentucky's season wasn't over. They could still make a push for their first ever New Year's Six Bowl if they could lock in for these last couple of weeks. Unfortunately for the Kentucky Wildcats, when things start going bad, usually the team will lose focus, and that's just what happened, as after losing to Georgia, Kentucky would travel to Knoxville to face off against the 4-5 Tennessee Volunteers and lay an egg, being outplayed completely and losing the game 24-7. Now sitting at 7-3 and dropping even further in the polls to the 17th spot, Kentucky's season was spiraling out of control, and the team would need to regroup and finish the season strong or risk one of the best seasons in program history going to waste. After the 2 losses in a row, Kentucky would respond winning 2 games in a row against Middle Tennessee 34-23, and in their final regular season game of the season in rivalry week, a blowout win against the Louisville Cardinals 56-10. The regular season was over, and Kentucky had finished 9-3 and would be ranked as the 14th best team in the country going into their bowl game versus the 12th ranked Penn State Nittany Lions. Could Kentucky cap off this magical season with a Citrus Bowl win?
Now from the end zone, the punt with Lynn Bowden near the midfield line, backs up a little bit. He's got some room to return this one, and very dangerous in the open field. What a move. Bowden trying to get to that corner. He does! To the 10, touchdown! Penn State going to try to punch it in, and McSorley throwing it over the top, touchdown. To the goal line, Wilson hands it off. Snell to the left side. Benny Snell, touchdown. Here he goes, Benny Snell, straight ahead. He's got the record and the touchdown.
And you're seeing it.
Not just playing, but gutting it out. McSorley, all kinds of time, and he finds his young tight end again, fighting for the pylon. Go. Here we go. McSorley throws short. They'll pitch it back, and the ball's on the turf.
Kentucky falls onto the Wildcats.
What an amazing way to end the season. I know at a certain point during the season there was a real thought that maybe Kentucky could make the playoffs and compete for the SEC East title, but still, finishing the season 10-3 with a dominant bowl game win is still pretty good and something I'm sure Kentucky fans won't be forgetting about anytime soon. That's going to pretty much wrap up this video. If there's any teams or topics you want me to take a look at, comment it down below. I'll be sure to take a look at it and possibly cover it. Have a good day. Try to do something nice for someone. I'm out.